Good morning, vinyl community. Jeff here. Happy Monday, if you can say that. Monday. Happy yay, back to Mondays. Anyway, I made it out this weekend for just a short amount of time. Swung by another thrift store that I hadn't been to in a while. Found a couple things that I thought were worth rescuing. Can't say it's a major haul as far as, you know, killer stuff, but it's stuff that's definitely worth rescuing and having that I desired to have in my collection. The thing that's interesting about looking through the thrift store stuff is when you watch other people's videos who do that. And I've recently been catching up with some of Tuco's previous videos. Over the past couple of months, he's done a lot of thrift store, taking you along in video in thrift stores, and then showing you the hauls that he's found, you know, for a decent price. And I admit, you know, and this happens from anybody you watch in the vinyl community or music community, they talk about bands that I would have just passed by. Had no clue that that was worth, you know, necessarily checking out, or what style it was, I should say. I mean, all the music's probably worth checking out, but what style that might be in my wheelhouse, you know, something that I might want to check out. And he was showing some stuff, and, you know, so it kind of puts names in my mind that if I then see them, you know, I might be likely to check them out if the price is right. So it kind of, and showing the kind of stuff he's been finding, and of course, having found something a couple weeks ago that was pretty decent, we've been hitting, you know, thrift stores more frequently whenever we're in the neighborhood. And so I went there, and while, you know, there's only one thing. So there was one item there that I had just seen in Tuco's video, a band that I'm familiar with the band, but, you know, never would have given any thought to really necessarily picking it up. But he talked about how he had loved it, and that was Tiny Tim. It's just funny. So he had picked up the first Tiny Tim album, and, you know, everybody knows Tiptoe Through the Tulips and all that stuff. But I'm at this thrift store, and they had Tiny Tim's second album, which is actually called Second Album. And I looked at it, and it was like in just amazing condition. And I had it in my hand, but I had picked up some other stuff, and, you know, it ended up getting chopped and getting put back, even though it was in great condition, and I like rescuing that. But anyway, I didn't know if I would have enjoyed it as much, but I kind of regret it now. I wish I could go back, because it was in great condition, and it would be worth grabbing to pass on. But anyway, what I did grab were, and again, things that I had no clue about. What I do is I look at them. If the cover catches my eye, I then examine it, you know, try to interpret what kind of music it is, look for familiar names. And so I picked this up. It looked, I don't know, looked interesting. Ronnie Law's Pressure Sensitive. It's actually Ronnie Laws and Pressure Sensitive. So it's him with some others. Now, I knew nothing about it. It looked 70s-ish, which it is. And then I flipped it over and I see this. And so I'm thinking jazz or something along that line. It's a blue note. So that's a clue. And then I start looking at some of the players on here, and I'm noticing a few names that I know. And I thought, you know, Joe Sample, I know I have some of his albums. Anyway, I thought, okay, it's most likely some kind of jazz. The inner sleeve is a blue note sleeve, and then, of course, the label is a blue note label. So I thought, you know, I'll get me something on blue note. I know that's popular in the jazz world. And so I grabbed that. So yes, I brought this home, listened to it, and it is a funk jazz fusion, and it was just killer. It was killer. I'm like, wow, that was cool. And again, this one caught my eye. Had no clue. Just interesting looking. It didn't look like, you know, your typical show tunes or anything. And again, not really a clue who it was, but then I looked at it and I'm like, oh, same people, Joe Sample, same, you know, so I knew him. Larry Carlton, you know, jazz guitar player. David Sanborn, jazz sax player. So, again, I thought, okay, it was in good condition. Now, this one turns out, it does kind of have a jazz appeal, but it turns out it is a vocal album. So I'm assuming maybe this guy's a vocalist. I have to, what is he? But it's still got kind of an undertone of jazz, but it's got kind of a pop sensibility, vocals on top of it. Again, you know, enjoyable stuff, but, and it was in great condition. Now, these next three, you know, the name immediately stood out. I have nothing by him. I hear his name all the time. Vaguely knew anything about him. And I saw this, not that good. I looked at them and they're in great condition. But I picked up some Boots Randolph. We're talking classic jazz saxophone player from the 60s. Now, if you don't know Boots, which I admit I had not really ever listened to his music before, but most everybody would know him from the most popular tune, I guess, that he's well known for, and that's that yakety sax song that became the Benny Hill theme song. Anyway, it's the thing that put him on the map. But other than that, he's got just a easy listening jazz, classic jazz sound from the 60s. He passed away in 2007. I was just looking up some of the information when I was cataloging these on Discogs, and then I went onto YouTube and I started watching some of his videos from the day, and there's videos with him and Chet Atkins and videos with him and on all different TV shows from back in the day, playing with different people and just, fun stuff. It was just great. I thought, I'm going to get some of this, and, this is the seductive side, so it's got some songs on here that are like instrumental versions of love songs that you're familiar with. Boots with strings. And again, these were all in great condition. I do want to give them a little clean. They're just a tad bit dirty, but I gave them a quick spin. And the sound of boots. And, these are all, I think one of them is 66, 168. I forget when the other one was. But so we're talking music that was recorded and released when I was born and a baby, a toddler. So, again, they were in good enough condition that I thought I need to bring these home. And classic jazz player, sax player, pop song jazz sax type player, things along that line. So anyway, wanted to grab those. And then since I had bought one of his albums in the semi-major haul that I did before, and they had this here and it was in really top-notch condition, I went ahead and grabbed another Gordon Lightfoot album. I gave it a spin. I gave the first side a spin. Didn't know any of the songs. Maybe there's something, but it's got the definitely singer-songwriter Americana type feel. Gordon Lightfoot, typical stuff. And again, since it was in great condition, high quality Warner Brothers label, I'm going to give it a little clean and get rid of the pops and crackles and get that on. And then this is an album that I occasionally run into. Bands like this I occasionally run into, and they always seem to be in really bad condition. This one was in really top-notch condition. Some Bachman Turner Overdrive head-on. Now, I don't own anything by them. I know their hits. That's about it. So always looking to fill in some classic rock bands like this. Bands like this and Three Dog Night and Grand Funk and all those big popular song bands that my brother probably was listening to back in the day. I would go ahead and grab that. This one's got a cut corner here. This is the one that folds out. Wanted to grab some of this, and there it was, and they were priced right, so grab that. All right, so that's it for now. Just wanted to show some quick stuff over the weekend that we found. Check out thrift stores. You never know when something might be dropped off there that's of decent value. I will see you later. Rock on and rock hard.